At Dave Cooper Live, we connect the industry leaders in the architectural, engineering, and construction space with the people, the products, and the processes to help them build it better. All right, everybody. Is modular construction finally having its moment? Welcome to Dave Cooper Live, where we explore the future of building. And today we're in New York City, one of the toughest construction markets in the world, where Axis Construction is pushing the boundaries of healthcare, higher education, hospitality, energy, and modular construction. Joining us is John Bongiorno, VP of Axis Construction's modular division, to answer the big question: is modular construction on the rise? Let's dive into how offsite construction is delivering real results in one of the world's most demanding cities and beyond. But we can't do any or all of this without our supporting members. So how about a big shout out to Cobalt Creed? They have a cutting edge small duct energy efficiency central HVAC solution for homes and businesses where space is at a premium. Whether you're looking to optimize comfort or energy efficiency, Cobalt Creed has the expertise to make that happen. You can visit them at cobaltcreed.com for more information, and make sure you thank all of these supporting members as well. Forward Solutions Group is successfully driving companies to succeed where others have failed. Are you looking to start a factory, optimize your existing factory, streamline your production, or take your team to the next level? Whatever your needs are, Forward has a solution for you. Reach out to Ben at forwardsolutionsgroup.com. Howick Ltd. has a long history of innovation in cold form steel manufacturing and producing innovative precision roll forming technology for customers throughout the United States and the world. Check out their machine buyer's guide for offsite modular construction or fast build construction with light steel for framing. Go to their website, howickltd.com. Brought to you by Greatech, one of the largest Autodesk partners globally and software developer of the PowerPack Advanced Design, Advanced Steel, and the StruxSoft product line. The complete solution to automate wood and light gauge steel framing, design, and documentation all the way out to CNC output, model, design, and manufacture with StruxSoft. Learn more at StruxSoftSolutions.com. All right. Thank you to all those supporting members and to all of the supporting members that you see ticking across the bottom of your screen below. We can't do any of this or all of it without the support of all of you out there, so we can help grow building it better with all of these experts. And this expert I'm bringing on the show today not only talks about modular, is not only the president of MBI, but is also a practitioner of it each and every day on some of the most complex systems out there. Let's bring John Barngiorno onto the show. John, how are you, my friend?
Dave, great to see you. Thanks for having me. It's been a while. Really appreciate it.
It has been a while. I mean, listen, our first meeting was during COVID in West Islip, New York. You and Jim Gabriel from ModLogic said, listen, we got a project down here. Everybody's locked up. Let's showcase it. And you guys actually were one of the first people to invite me into this world of filming on location. So it's an honor to have you back on. And it's also an honor to see all of the amazing projects you're still building.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Dave. And you're right. We go back to at the height of the pandemic with that project out there with Good Samaritan, and I mean, literally at the height of it, we were doing it, and it was deemed an essential project. So Jim was able to get permission from Pennsylvania to keep his plant open. We kept working in New York, and in about 11 weeks, we delivered that building, and you were there the whole way and supported us. So thank you so much.
Yeah. So stick around, everybody, because we're not only going to show you that project and where it all started, but all the projects, or at least a lot of them since then. But before we get into that, Mr. Buongiorno, what I would love is for you to give us a little bit about who you are, what you do. In fact, we want to know everything about you from the moment you were born, John, to this very moment in time. Don't leave out any of the good stuff from the hospital. And that's not a play on construction, or I will call you out on it. But you only have a few minutes to do it. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so I won't go back that far, Dave. That'll take way too long. But yeah, so John Buongiorno, here in New York, born and raised in New York, just outside of the city. Have done all of my work here, based out of New York. Started way back when, not even knowing anything about the modular industry. Got out of school at a college with a degree from Manhattan College in finance and marketing. No idea what I was going to do. Went to work for a small mom and pop company. He had a bunch of different businesses. One of them happened to be an office trailer rental business, very small, maybe only about 50, 60 trailers in total. Gravitated towards that and grew that fleet, moved on to a couple national companies after that, and then landed at Axis Construction just over 25. It's going to be actually 26 years with Axis in 2 days.
You don't even look like you're 26 years old. Come on.
Much more than that, Dave. I gave you the very short version of the history, but yeah, it's been a great ride through the industry, doing everything from guardhouses and store vans to what we're doing now and the type of projects that you've seen us do.
Tell us a little bit about Axis Construction. We have the history of it. Obviously, you've been there for, 25 plus years, give or take. Were they always doing modular? How did it all come together? When did this company decide that, hey, there's a better way for us to do this?
Sure. So Axis is going on its 34th year in business. Early on, when the company was started by the current owner and his partner back then, Ralph Lambert is the owner now. I used to subcontract work to them on my modular projects on Long Island. Grumman was always a very big modular user out on Long Island when they were big, building the jets and things of that nature. Got to know them from a subcontracting standpoint, and they saw the benefit to modular, and we became friendly and always talked about how do we do this direct? How do we cut out the middleman? So we put together a plan and an idea, and I left the firm I was with at the time to start up the modular division for Axis, and took some time, and you're starting from scratch and from nothing and no experience or backlog or references as Axis, but it's worked out great. They've supported it the whole way, and Ralph has been a huge supporter of it, and is kind of giving me the freedom to really go after any project, no matter how complicated or difficult it is. So we do a lot of healthcare. We do a lot of work in New York City, which nobody else wants to do. So it's been great, for us.
Yeah.
Healthcare at the same time. Again, you've seen some of the buildings; they're pretty complicated. Um, so it's been a great ride, and a lot of,
Sure.
and we're growing further. We're the last few years we've been expanding up into New England and doing a lot of work healthcare wise and government wise up in the New England area.
Sure, sure. So let me ask you this: with modular construction as a major plays a major role with Axis Construction. I know not every project is done volumetric or modular. What is the value that your company Axis is seeing? Because you head up the modular division. What is the value that allows you to keep doing this step and repeat over and over? And they're all bespoke projects mostly that I've seen. Where's the value to the founders, the owners, the staff, the team to Axis by going this route?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question, Dave, and it's something we talk a lot about internally and grow on, because there is a lot of value add with what we do in this industry, not just Axis, but the industry in general, right? So an example that I can give you, and really what sums it up, is we did a project a few years back with Malloy College. It was a 3-story dormitory project, 30,000 square foot. And Axis had done other work, conventional, for the college. And they presented the owner with the idea that they needed to do another residence hall. Had zero knowledge, zero idea that modular even existed. He spoke to them, came back to me. We talked about it. He says, "Do you think you can do it modular?" I'm like, "Yeah, we could do anything modular, right?" So we went, did a presentation. The president of the college got it immediately. He saw the value in the schedule compression, the cost certainty, and the quality. But to further, it wasn't just a presentation. What really convinced them was because he was having a difficult time letting us do the project modular, because their board of directors had no idea what it was about. So they actually hired Axis as their CM, and we had to do a full, yep, that's the building right there. We had to do a full study and estimate, schedule-wise, 2 independent teams, both conventionally to build this building, conventionally, and then modular. And when all was said and done, again, it was all very schematic at the time. There were no drawings.
Yeah.
From a cost perspective, quite honestly, the budget I came up with for modular was a couple $100,000 more than conventional. But the schedule and what they saw in the quality, he was immediately, that's what we're doing. And the whole project, the whole team was guided to go modular. So again, it's what we bring in terms of lack of disruption to sites, to campuses, whether it be a university, whether it be a hospital campus. The quality, because that building was built completely together as a 3-story in ModLogic's plant. So the fit and finish and what we were able to do came out, I'm not going to say 90% complete, but let's say 85+% complete. We set the building in 5 days over a spring break. The kids left on Friday, came back the following week, and there was a 30,000 square foot 3-story building, zero disruption to the campus.
Yeah.
So it's those kind of things that Axis is seeing that we promote to our clients. And we have those same things. Good Sam, for example, the one that you went to in West Islip there. They saw what we did at Malloy, and I think you even spoke with the gentleman, Joe, with the hospital, and he was convinced then at Malloy that he wanted to do this. He had no idea what he was going to do, but he wanted to do a modular building. And then a year or so later, we did the Good Samaritan project.
Yeah. Well, we have, I have some footage from the Good Samaritan project. I hope you're okay if I share this, but I think one of the pieces that I want to start it off with is this one, I believe, Best in Show or Best Modular a couple years, like the year I think we did it during COVID. We put a video together with you and Mod Logic and their team. Let me play that real quick so everybody can see. I'm gonna put it full screen so they can watch this. So if you're good with that, let's do it.
I'm fine.
Started, I think we broke ground in around March or February or something. And here it is in June, and the building's up, and we're ready to see patients next week.
This is Dave Cooper, and we're at Good Samaritan Hospital in West Islip, New York. And right now I am standing inside a modular, roughly 7,000 square foot, modular pediatric emergency room addition that we did for the hospital.
As with many other hospitals, particularly in highly populated areas, space and land is always a problem. John Bongiorno introduced me to this notion of a modular construction whereby we could reduce the laydown area for the project and speed up the construction, thereby reducing the amount of disruption. We were able to construct the foundation and do all of the site work at the same time that you guys were building the building. Even more impressive than how fast we were able to finish the project by doing this kind of simultaneous construction was the fact that we got hit with a pandemic. Through the entire process, we didn't miss a beat.
The COVID pandemic actually sped up this process.
Right.
And really pushed us as we saw a need to have dedicated space, private rooms for our patients.
Right.
And the fact that this was modular construction obviously was great not only for us on campus here, but for the entire community because there was a lot less disruption. If we didn't tell people it was modular, there's no way anybody would be able to tell.
The video kind of says it all, right? I mean, just with the words and truly the value that it brought, especially in a very troubling time, such as what was going on with COVID.
Yeah, that is probably, Dave, I've done so many projects over the years, but that project is probably the one that I'm most proud of, happy with, because of everything that we had to go through at that time to get that one to where it was. And we've certainly done much bigger projects, more complicated, but you're right. What we had to go through, in those couple months there and pull that off as quickly as we did, and everybody coming together, the subcontractors, the factory, the hospital, the state representatives that we had to petition to keep working. It was, everybody says a team effort, but that truly was, and everybody came together. So yeah, and you're right. I said it earlier, that did win Best in Show, which is voted by the attendees. So that was special as well. So yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I'll never forget that project. We couldn't even open up the wall. And I say we, because I feel like I was part of that. Couldn't even open that wall up to the main hospital because on the other side, there were hundreds, if not thousands of COVID patients in there. So we're working on the grounds, right? Which is a ground zero for COVID. At the same time, building this hospital addition, which was really, really needed. And it was done, if I get my numbers right, within 12 weeks from putting that on the foundation or on the piers to the time they were seeing patients. I believe it was 11 or 12 weeks.
You have a great memory. All of what you just said is accurate. And 11 weeks from the time we landed the last module to they actually had patients in the bed, and that was with full inspections and DOH approval. So we're very proud of that project.
Yeah, and you guys definitely should be. And I'm just showing a little bit of behind the scenes there while we're talking. All right. So we have a bunch of projects to run through, or at least, talk about as we're moving this along. But with modular construction in general, you've been doing it for a lot of years now, and it continues to grow. At least that's what it feels like. Are you finding that you have more and more projects as time's marching on, or are we still back, 7 years ago?
We are not back 7 years ago. There are more and more opportunities that are being presented to us that we're working on, both currently and in the planning stage. And there's only more coming. Excuse me. The use of modular construction, full volumetric, over the last 5-6 years has doubled. Mm-hmm. And it's still just a small percentage of construction. You know better than anybody, but it is growing, and the opportunities that we're getting. And we don't even deal in the residential housing sector. We don't look at affordable housing. I get calls on that. I'm not joking, every single day. So that's a whole nother industry. But we stay focused on what we're doing with the healthcare, the higher ed, offices, government. We have, not going to lie to you, we do look from time to time at the housing sector, but we haven't dipped our toe in a project yet there. We may someday, but right now, what we do, quite honestly, is a lot. That's why we expanded up into New England. There was a demand up there. We've completed 3 or 4 projects already, and we're about to start fabrication of another ED addition for a hospital up in Milton, Massachusetts, which will have a completion date towards the end of the year. So yeah, the growth has been great. We're seeing it. The team that I work with at Axis, the modular division you mentioned before, we're just a small percentage of what Axis does. We represent maybe 25-30% of the company, but the group that we've put together, from business development to project management to assistant project managers, superintendents, they're all dedicated to our division. It's growing. We've hired people up in New England. I've got Brent Doucette who works with me. He's out in New Mexico at Los Alamos as we speak for the week on projects that we're looking out with the lab out there. So we'll go anywhere. And it's just been a great ride. Everything is different. And that's why I'm still doing it, Dave, after 43 years. So.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's fun, man. We get to play with big Lego blocks. That's what I say. I mean, yours are a lot more complex than most, but really it's all about, loving what you do, and you love it so much that you decide to even, take on being the president of HBI, and we'll get into that. So you're expanding, you have a great team. Caroline, I'm glad to hear she's still there. Awesome. And others. And they've been there for a long time now. How does that happen? How do you get the new blood to fuel the growth in the division, right? Because labor is such a big issue, but you seem to be building a team of people that are sticking around and truly love what they do. And I think is that helping you?
It does, and it takes work. And what I try to do with the folks because we add every year, we've got more than just Caroline, but we really look, or what I look for, is somebody that wants to be on the team, somebody that wants to leave something behind at the end of each day. That's all I want to do. So when we do these projects, I want to make sure the client is satisfied, because you know better than anyone, Dave, Axis does not do a lot of advertising. So a lot of my work, our work, comes from word of mouth, referral, and repeat business. And to do that, you have to deliver on what you say you're going to do. So I keep everybody in the loop on everything that the division does, from our prospecting, our pipeline. We review it every week. We go over each project every week. Really just try to get them to be part of something and feel that, not feel, they are contributing to the success that our division is having, because we have had some really great success, you know, in our division.
Yeah, for sure. So you've been at this, like I said, 25, 26 years, right? How do we get other GCs to get involved in this? Are they coming to Axis? You know, does Axis welcome working with other GCs and help them, you know, with their projects? How do we get other traditional construction companies to start looking at this method of construction? And are you helping any others or working with any others?
Uh, yes, yes, and yes. All great questions. So, um, GCs, quite honestly, are very reluctant to get into this world because of the unknown. And so anytime that somebody comes to us, I'm more than happy to work with them, have our team work with them. We have partnered with some very large general contracting firms, incredibly large, that are doing government work, and then they bring us in as their modular consultant on projects. And quite honestly, you know, I mentioned earlier that Brent is out west at Los Alamos, and that is through a general contractor that has a government contract, but there's a need for a modular building, and they just don't know how to do it. They've never done it. So their research led them to us and ModLogic, and we're helping them. And I know down the road, and I asked them this question almost the very first 15 minutes that I met them back last year. And they're like, so, you know, I'd say it's you, Dave, how many projects before you don't need me anymore? And you pick our brain, you learn what we do, and you don't need us anymore. You know, and that's fine. And most of them are, oh, John, never, we need you. That, you know that better.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
We know that going in, but I've always said from day one, we can't do every project. It's impossible. But I want every project in this industry to be perfect and to go well, because what that will do is it will increase the usage of modular. It will increase my opportunities, and it will increase my business. So we can't do everything, but I want everybody to do it well. And I cannot stand when projects go sideways because of a lack of planning, a lack of effort, and research. If there's one mesh, that's a beautiful, I love that building. We're doing that now. So yeah, I would say, yes, we definitely work with other firms. I have in the past, currently doing it, more than willing to help and educate anybody.
Well, I'm super happy to hear that, because that is the one part our industry is missing, is that education piece, right? Everybody has their hand out. They want to, you know, pay to learn, all of that stuff too. But I think we're finding that there's a lack of education happening from the universities, right? And there's just not enough John Bongiornos of the world out there doing this, to where people, and they don't leave your company. So nobody's leaving your company to go teach other companies. So, you know, education is going to be a big role. Let's talk about some of your current projects. I stopped on that slide because I was just running through some pretty awesome things you're doing. This is a project that's currently underway now.
Yeah, so that is a 3-story, roughly 30,000 square foot addition to that building on the right there.
Yeah.
This is right in the heart of New York City, basically under the Triborough, or the RFK bridge that they call it now, on Ward's Island. It is a rehab facility for substance abuse females. It's run by Odyssey House, which does a lot of that work all throughout the city. That project, we set that building in less than 2 weeks. I think it was 70 78 or 79 picks.
Wow.
You know, challenging site. It's a postage stamp where there was really no laydown areas, so we had to set as we go. So that, you know, most days we were done setting mods at 10:30 in the morning, and
Right.
you know, we had to wait till the next day till more loads came in. But that's a great building. That building is scheduled to go online, I think, April 4th. So all the interior work is being done as we speak. That picture is old. That picture is
Right.
probably you know, about 2.5 months old. So it's much further along. But you can see how the modules stacked up there. The cantilevers over the you know, first floor there. That those glass you know, on the left there. So yeah, it's a great building. Ties directly into the existing. Yes, that's one that we're doing right now, and that's with ModLogic.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? And for you general contractors out there, or for business owners or community hospitals or whatever you do, you said something that's very, very important, right? It's a small footprint in a high trafficked area. A lot of people not only work in that area, my guess is there's housing all around you everywhere you're at. You were able to get 80% of that building complete within a very, very short amount of time of a couple weeks, which is less disruption to the surrounding neighborhood, because that right there, my friend, would be thousands and thousands of deliveries nonstop if you were building that on site locally, which clogs up the bridges, which clogs up the roads, ... You agree with that?
100%. And even with our deliveries, just this 70 or 80 deliveries of these modules, we were on daily phone calls with the MTA and the Tri-Borough Bridge Authority, you know, coordinating the logistics so that it all went very seamless at night, because they can't afford to have a shutdown of the bridge, right? So it worked perfectly. Again, the team worked really hard on that one. And you're 100% right. You know, it really cut back on disruption quite a bit. And from it, just to go back to the general contracting thing, that project was actually bid out a few years ago as a conventional building, but it came in way over budget, way over schedule. So they did some research, found us in ModLogic. We were able to flip it into a modular build. They rebid it, and we were successful.
All right. Here's the big question, John. So you sitting down? All right. Listen, have you found a way when you're meeting with clients to show the value? The pictures say 1,000,000 words, right? The testimonials say 1,000,000 words to everybody. But most people have a hard time understanding the value of time and heads on beds, because that's a huge cost savings, especially for medical facilities, for apartment buildings, for educational facilities. And we didn't even talk about, even on the Good Samaritan Hospital, how not only did you come in on budget, you came in under budget on that project, right? So have you figured out how to tell that story to where, you know, people are sitting, it's a no-brainer to me, and I can't for the life of me understand why anybody wants to site build anything anymore unless they just can't get mods in.
Yeah, I agree with you. And yes, that's a big component when we're talking with somebody new to offsite construction is, you know, it's easy to say that you're going to cut a third or 40% off of his schedule. That's easy. That's the low-hanging fruit, right? We stress the cost certainty that we provide. You know, a lot of the projects that we do, and I'm very open about it, we don't even put contingency on the modular building line item. We're that certain of what the cost of that is going to be, because most states have a state program and an approval process that you have to go through prior to fabrication starting. So we already know what we're going to build, so we can lock that number in, and then we're just putting contingency, let's say, on the site portion work. But the value particularly to that's one of the big reasons why Malloy College went with the dormitory. They were in competition with another local university for nursing students. They were trying to build up their nursing program. By going with the modular construction, we were able to get them 103 beds, a full school year, not semester, a full school year. So 2 semesters ahead of their competition to enroll an extra 103 students, because we were able to deliver that final product. We set that building in April of that year, and kids were in those beds in August. So the speed that they were able to get from using that delivery method, and the dollar that they not only saved, but were able to generate, because dorms are profit centers, just like these are and MRI facilities. They understand the value of that speed. So I've even had some folks tell us after the contract, of course, oh, we would even paid a little bit more. So,
well, hey, that's what keeps them coming back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what keeps coming back. All right. So no contingencies as a regular site contractor would have, because they have contingencies on price increases, you know, problems on the job site, environmental risks. There's all these different things that happen on these large projects. So that's, to me, I think the biggest value add, that if anybody's listening to this and interested in what you do, the biggest value add is, you know, what it's going to cost you. I mean, you're a lot closer than any other site contractor could do. And you lock it in. And not only do you hire Access, you're hiring an entire team of designers, builders, draftsmen, engineers, and construction workers at the manufacturing facilities. So they get 2 for 1, not just Access, but you also get the partnership of the modular manufacturing, right?
That's 100% accurate. We couldn't do it without them. We're not the manufacturer. We cannot do it without our manufacturing partners at all.
Well, I love it. I love it. I'm going to keep flipping through some of these here. I mean, these are just basic structures. What are we looking at here?
But I do it all. So those 2, that one happens to be down in Austin, Texas. I've got a client, that one's out in Salt Lake City. So I have a client that I've been dealing with for 37 years. It's a national trucking company, and I do their branches all over the country. So we just finished up Texas, Austin, and Salt Lake City, just starting now, Allentown, PA. So I'll go anywhere for them. But we can do everything from small, you know, wood frame structures right through the multi-story steel and concrete, you know, healthcare and dorms.
Yeah, and I'm just flipping through these pictures. I mean, there is so much in here that you guys do and what you work on. It's incredible. All right. In regards to Access Construction, John, and the modular division, tell us a little. Tell us what we didn't talk about. What do you want people really to know about what you do, who you are with Access, and you know, why they should be giving you a shot at all of their projects? Because to me, I mean, you got the portfolio and you got the people saying, yeah, we loved it.
Yeah. So again, one of the things that, you know, I am and the company's most proud of is our repeat business. So New York City Health and Hospitals, it's a New York City agency. We've done 3 projects, modular projects with them. We're doing some conventional work with them now, and they're actually thinking about rolling out a full modular program in the near future that we're talking about. It all goes out to bid, but again, they see the value of it. You know, Good Samaritan. We just finished up in September. Yeah, this past September. There's their affiliate hospital in Port Jefferson at St. Charles. We did something very similar that we did at Good Sam. So a second ED addition for them. This hospital that I mentioned that we're going to, you know, start on breaking ground shortly up in Milton, Mass. It's the second one that we're doing for the Beth Israel system up there. We finished one in Plymouth, Mass, and now they're one of their facilities, the Milton Hospital, is doing something even bigger than what we did in Plymouth. So we're very proud of that repeat business, and the fact that once people see not just the value of Axis, because we do think we bring some value to the table that others don't, but in just modular construction itself. But at Axis, you know, if it wasn't for the support of the owner, I wouldn't be able to do this. He does really let me go after just about anything and run it. But the team that, you know, we've put together, everybody's been with us for a long time. And, you know, I'm very happy and proud of that. And I always say, you know, in my presentations or things that you know, when I talk with people is, don't ask the question, can you do it? When you're out searching for somebody to help you. The question you have to ask is, you know, have you done it? Everybody's going to tell you they can do it, but have you done it? And you've been very kind, you know, showing, you know, our portfolio of work. And that's just a small sampling of the projects that we've done over the years. So, you know, we're very proud of our work. We take a lot of pride in it. And we stress that, you know, with our team is the integrity. All we want to do is just do what you say you're going to do, and we'll be fine.
That's an odd thing. Say what you're going to do and do it, right? I mean, that's basically it. I wish we had more of that in this. So, all right, we covered Axis. Let's talk about your role at MBI and some of the growth. You know, one of the things we've been talking about offline as well is, you know, you have some international growth you're looking at, right? And you're looking at World of Modular in the EU, and there's a lot to learn from Europe on these things. So I want to get into both of those, but your primary role as president of MBI, what is that?
Wow. The primary role as president, I've come to learn, is listening and making sure you take in everybody's comments, feedback, give everybody a chance to give their opinion and have some say, and then have the conversations to develop a strategy to move forward. We had heard for years from the folks over in Europe that they needed better support from MBI to grow that brand, so to speak, to help them gain traction in the industry. And it took a while, but ultimately, you know, the board embraced it. And as you mentioned, we just did in October our first World of Modular, smaller version than what we do here in the States every year, you know, over in Brussels. And it was, I went over there. Truthfully, I was not expecting a lot. I was nervous. And from the very first evening, when everybody started gathering for a little reception, the vibe was there, the feeling, the atmosphere was electric, and it was a great event. We had over 185 attendees. A group came in from Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, US. We even had some folks come in from the US, all over Europe. And it was to share ideas of how can we grow this industry, promote it, as I said earlier. So while no one person or one company can do everything, but let's do it well, right? So that there's more opportunities. So how do you do that? You have to share ideas. You come together, whether it's WAMI, you know, World of Modular that we're going to have soon in Vegas. So, you know, to go back to your question, as the president, one of my goals that I set when I became president last year was I wanted to really explore and push the international. I was fortunate enough to travel in September through Italy, and I went to see one of our member factories, RI Group down in Lecce. I was blown away with what they do. It's unlike anything that I've seen in the U.S. So it was great to see that. You know, I visited other factories throughout the U.S. and up in Canada, and I really want to plan on doing that more. I know you have, so you're very lucky. But no, it was great being over there, seeing what they do, and the international expansion is really something we're pushing.
Yeah. Well, the international thing, I mean, it's huge. They've been practicing modular, volumetric, panelized, mass timber construction for a long, long time. And there's a lot to learn, and it's been more widely accepted throughout Europe. And we spend a lot of time in Europe, and just, I love this group, by the way. I just want to show some of their civil defense stuff and medical things that the RI group does. They do amazing stuff for the UN, for the United States military, and so many others. So if you haven't had a chance to check out this stuff, and if you like cool military stuff, you definitely want to check out what this group is doing, because it is beyond what anybody even thinks they do.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Actually, when I was touring their plant, they had a surprise inspection from the Brigadier General of NATO.
Yeah,
he was inspecting some units that he was taking delivery on in a few weeks, and you know, I got to meet him and spend a few minutes, and it's just incredible, and that was really a highlight of the trip. So yeah, it was great.
You know, we spend so much, you know, Europe. I'm in, you know, Laos and South Korea. You know, we have some South American interest trying to bring us down there right now as well. And I will tell you, there is a lot of great leaders, just like the RI group and others, that have technology that they've come up with for the modular space that we're still trying to figure out here. And this all comes back to us. You know, John, if everybody could just come together and start talking, we would all learn so much, and we would probably time warp the projection of what modular construction can actually do and what it can achieve. But everybody's stuck in their little silo of, to me anyhow, they have the secret widget. And I see that same widget everywhere I go.
Yeah, Dave, the one thing I really learned, you know, going over to Europe, back to back to Italy and then Brussels, and we went to visit a factory, Skill Pod, just outside of Brussels. They do all residential modular, very high quality, great people. But one of my takeaways from that event was what you just said, is they are all willing to share ideas and work with each other. And for whatever reason, back here in the States, everybody thinks that they actually have a better widget, and they don't want to share information. And quite honestly, our widgets are old, and we need to work together. And if you don't start sharing information and supporting each other, this industry will take a long time to grow. You've seen it better than anybody, all the comings and goings in our space. And that's not good for us. It's unhealthy. But if things get figured out and people work together, you're 100% right. We just, for whatever reason, we don't seem to, we all come together, but the conversations here are very guarded. Over there, it was just open conversation from day one of people that had never even met each other before.
Right.
So I think that's a big difference.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, you know, for the viewers out there, I'll do some name drops for you to check out. If you're not familiar with DM Bao over there, they're doing a lot of the franchise restaurants like McDonald's and others throughout Europe. You know, in fact, I think Jim from Mod Logic is doing Wawas and all that too. So he's doing a lot of great things like that. British Offsite, more panelized. You got Boxable doing folding houses here in America, whether you like it or not. You know, so A-Fold in Italy, and then obviously the RI group and so many others. But you know, we spend so much time telling the European story and the Asian stories because, like you just said, they want us to talk about what they're doing. They want to come here to the United States.
Yeah.
And my guess is, if I'm a betting man, getting all of these people to be part of MBI opens that conversation, because the leadership from the European nations, Christoph Drosch, right, IQ Module, and Evelina, DMD, all of them. My God, can you imagine how the world would change? You put all these world leaders in offsite construction together to finally just start working together and moving it forward. I think it's a game changer.
I agree. And if we can integrate those conversations with them at World of Modular, because a lot of the folks you mentioned, plus a lot more, will be there in April.
Yep.
Maybe bring all of them together to have that conversation and talk about how can we share these ideas. What's different there, you know, over in the EU compared to here, and how do we get that to happen? So I mean, they're all going to be there, plus some. You know, it's something I tried to push as hard as I can this past year. I only have one more year on the board after April as the past president, so I'll still try to do some damage, you know, next year if they don't throw me out. But
that's right. I don't know if it's damage or is it glue. You guys are keeping it all together. That's what you do.
I'm trying, and I think we've got a great board. We've put together a very diverse group, both from the U.S., Canada, and EU. You know, so we've worked hard at that to try and bring in some different ideas from all sectors. And I think it's working. We have great conversations, some more animated than others in our board meetings, but it's at the end of the day, we're all there for the same thing, which is great.
You definitely have some characters on that board, but they're all wicked smart and they love what we do. And MBI should spend more time promoting who is on the board of directors, because I think people would be very surprised when they start seeing some of the names that are helping steer this ship and move it forward. We're just about out of time here, but John, what are the two goals this year for MBI? You know, or just for yourself? What would be the two goals that you want to do? I'm assuming one of them is to grow the European presence.
Yeah. So for MBI, yes, to continue the growth internationally. We're talking with other groups besides Europe. So continue the growth there, but then also you had mentioned earlier on in the conversation about education. We've hired Heather Packard to run our not just professional development group, but she's creating all sorts of training modules that you can get online now and learn from and take the courses. So we're doing more of that. There's more coming. So again, just another little reason why to maybe think about becoming a member of MBI, because as a member that is included. So, you know, it's the education and, you know, certainly the international growth. From the Axis standpoint, continue our growth throughout New England. And quite honestly, you know, this work that we're looking at with the government is quite interesting. And it's something that we've never done before. It's complicated projects, pretty secure. We just found out that, I just found out this morning that when we go to transport the units, there'll be a full security detail from point A to point B, you know, with us the whole way. So all of those kind of things logistically you have to work out besides just the build. So, you know, continue the growth, expand the modular division, looking to bring on a couple more people to handle the project. So just keep growing.
I love it. I love it. Did I leave anything out that you want to make sure you get across, John?
No, just thank you. I mean, Dave, you were very kind to Jim and I back doing that Good Sam video and the clips that you put together on that. And that video that you showed, totally unscripted. You just walked up to Joe Locano. I was not even there. Jim wasn't there. You did that. You pulled him aside, interviewed him, and he hit on all of the things that we try to promote, right? Totally unscripted. So, you've been there, with us for a long time now. That's what, 4 or 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
That was March. You did that. We did that April of 20.
When they opened, grand opening, I did that.
Yeah. So you've been there. You've seen it all, and I really want to thank you for your support and what you're doing for the industry. You going around and all of these folks down at the bottom of your screen scrolling through right now, and so many others that you've visited and have seen, and you've connected people together. All that's doing is helping grow the industry, which is what I've been saying. We have to
That's right.
We can't do it all. You don't even build anything, but you're growing the industry. So thank you.
And I think that's where a lot of people don't truly understand Dave Cooper Live, because we were developers for 20 years in Modular before we even started doing any of the film. This filming stuff, John, was a hobby that went south. It went left and right, but I have so much fun talking about it, because for 20 years prior to doing this, I spent my entire life trying to convince people why modular construction is a better way to build. And now, people like yourself and so many others have just taken it to another level. So what's not to love about it? Grandma always said, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And I don't work. I work a lot, but I don't not like what I do. I love what I do. And telling your story and other stories out there is the only way we're going to get the attention, because you know what? We're not front and center on the news and Forbes magazine every other day, right? So somebody has to do it, and I love doing it. So thank you for all those kind words. I really do appreciate it. Why don't we promote a couple things we have coming up, John, real quick? I love that idea. So everybody, we got a bunch of events happening where we can all get together and you can join us. We're going to have some private executive events, which we love to do as well. So you will find us in just a few short weeks at Advancing Prefabrication in Phoenix, Arizona, February 17th through the 20th. So if you're going there and you want to be included in one of our events, please let us know. Or if you just want to get together and talk and see how we can help you in your business, let us know that as well, because video is not the only thing we do. We spend a lot of time bringing people together behind the scenes. And then the week later, we're heading to the International Builders Show, February 25th through the 27th. Hey, John, I don't know if you're going to be there, but we have a penthouse overlooking the Bellagio, and we're doing a really nice executive event there. And I know, John, I think you've wandered into a few of the things that we do, but our events are all about bringing people together that do business. And these events coming up are going to be a little different than past, because we're not only bringing the manufacturer owners to these events, the general contractors, the builders. We're bringing builders and developers that want to learn from people like yourself, John. So it'd be a good place to be for sure. And then a few weeks later, I guess months later, is World of Modular. That's your baby, John. We're planning on being there in Las Vegas, April 7th through the 10th. So let's meet up there as well. Details to come on that one. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but we're going to have some fun there as well. And to let everybody know, to include yourself, we never do anything that interferes with anybody else's event. And that's what's fun about it. So hopefully we bring value to everybody. So if you're interested in any of that, to include yourself, John, you're always invited. Please let us know. John? You get the final word, man. Anything you want left to say? I couldn't have squeezed all the orange juice out of you.
You may have, but I mean, Dave, being given this opportunity to talk about what I love to do, I really appreciate. I wouldn't be doing it this long, and I'm serious. It's over 43 years now that I'm in this industry. It's basically all I've done. Every day is different, and I just keep saying to myself and to my group, as long as we leave something behind every day, we're good. And that's all that matters.
That's it. Let's all pull together, everybody. And if you're not part of MBI, people like John are steering the ship on this thing and taking it to the next level and really making some true conversation and education happen. So reach out to John Bongiorno or go to the MBI website and check them out. John, thank you for joining us today. Don't go anywhere. We'll come back to you after the outro here. Everybody out there, just remember, we rely on all of our supporting members for everything that we do. Nobody tells us who we interview, where we go, or what we say. That's the only way we're going to grow this industry is if we're open, honest, and we start sharing information. So thank these supporting members as well. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you. And as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.